Did this list at all stress you out, Glenn? They're like you love the female-fronted bands, and I've yet to see you stressed out about any of these lists. You put down 5, you're done.
I only have 5, and
no participation trophies for you?
They aren't just front women, they are front lines. Voices and minds that cut through the noise with a presence that could start a riot or stop a heart. Forces that prove definitively that the stage may be strong enough for a man, but it was made for a woman. From punk icons and post-punk poets to synth sirens, grunge queens, and alt-rock architects, these are the ladies in the lead, bringing passion, purpose, and pain straight to the center of the stage. So this week, we salute the voices, the vision, and the volume of some of the greatest front women ever. Narrowing it down, impossible. But Glenn, Dave, and Jimmy can only pick 5. It's Top 5 Female-Fronted Bands on this episode of the 5x3.
Hey, welcome to the 5x3. Thanks for coming by, joining us for this episode. Today is Top 5 Female-Fronted Bands. These are our top 5 favorites, and by the 3 of us, I'm Jimmy.
I'm Glenn.
I'm Dave.
And Glenn is up first today. Glenn, your number 5.
My number 5 is Churches.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Churches from Glasgow, Scotland. I describe them as a synthesizer paradise. There's a lot of Depeche Mode. There's Yazoo, depending on what side of the pond you're on. There's a bit of OMD in there. Lauren Mayberry is the singer. Just a delightful voice, super melodic, very pleasing, and a great front woman. Charming as hell. I saw them. When did I see them? 2021 on the Screen Violence tour. And if I were to recommend an album to just jump in on, it's their latest album. Screen Violence. And
very cool.
I think they really evolved into something quite special. I mean, out of the gates, they established their sound, but it really did evolve and mature. And this album's interesting because they're paying homage to horror movies and like John Carpenter, and it's still a pop album, but there's very much this homage to that genre. Just an excellent band. It's been a consistent lineup for several years.
There's like 2 other guys, right?
There's two main guys and the drummer. Thinking about the past, 20 years or so, it's just one of those bands that I'm putting in that sort of classic, standing the test of time, which I feel like this is the top 5. Definitely, all these bands are standing the test of time for me, or I predict. Hopefully, they stay together. I don't know if the solo project is the direction she's going in, but
I think they came out at a time too when her voice. I don't know about you guys, but if you think back, I can't remember the exact year that the first album came out, but I remember there was a ton of vocals out there that all sounded the same. Everyone was putting out like the same sounding record, and she did not sound like that. You could tell she was sounded very authentically herself. She wasn't trying to say, you know what I mean? That affected vocal that all sounded like they were in an Apple commercial.
Yeah, just a very pure voice.
Yeah. So, I
think it's around 2011 or so. I mean, I think they formed in 2011. I think that the first album is not too far after that.
Excellent.
Nice.
All right, Dave, that's great. Churches, Glenn's number 5, and you're up next, Dave.
Okay. My number 5 is Portishead, formed in 1991 in England. Their album Dummy in 1994 was a pivotal record, I feel like, at least for me. Like, I had never heard anything quite like that up until then. And it was different from everything that was happening then. And Beth Gibbons is the singer. And it's basically like her and 2 other guys, Jeff Barrow and Adrian Utley. And they were just so great at creating moods, a mood. You know, they put you in a space, in a headspace, and like they just kept you there, you know. And she's got a great voice, very interesting voice. The Adrian Utley, who was I think the guitar player, was said they were heavily influenced by Ennio Morricone and spaghetti westerns, which totally makes sense. I just remember, especially that album, it from what I was listening to at the time, it just struck a nerve with me, and a great band, and I have not seen them live. I wish I had, though, but I think it's just they're just a band that, like I said, they just put you in a certain space, in a certain headspace, and they just never let you leave that headspace.
They put you on a dark street, right?
Yes.
With underneath a lamppost with it misting outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Dark and beautiful.
It's so noir. You know, it's just cinematic.
Cinematic's a great word for it. Yeah.
The thing about her is I was like trying to think of how to describe her, and it was like, I think the best way I could put it was she turns sorrow into atmosphere. It becomes a place. Her pain is not like so much an emotion as it is a place. Yeah. Like she sings and she takes you someplace, and it's kind of sad and dark and whatever, but at the same time, it's so real that you're just like the way how emotive she is. But so anyway, great. Yeah, that was a fantastic pick, Dave. We all obviously
big fans.
We would all have that Beth on our list.
Yeah, they're.
I mean, they're incredible.
Outside of female fronted, I think they're one of the greatest.
Yeah, even
ever, honestly.
Besides that, like they're just like we all know, the cinematic thing is, I think, the best way to describe it. They're able to paint a picture for you and just keep you in this space, and it's incredible the way they do it.
And no one else is like them.
No one.
There's people that have tried. There's similar style, in the trip hop world and all that sort of stuff, but nothing. No one got there. Yeah.
That's excellent. I don't know, how do you follow that up? But this one might be on other people's list because it's a big one, and so. But it would be a shame if she was not on here. Deborah Harry from Blondie, the whole punk pop, the way they started out, her background, she was kind of model, whatever. And then she just shows up on the scene and she's just got everything. She's just got it all. She just shows up and she's just a natural. She's got everything, all the appeal, the voice, the confidence. I mean, could you have a better front woman in 1979, 80 than Deborah Harry?
From 1975 to 1980, no, you could not have a better front woman than her.
And a true band.
Yeah.
In the way Van Halen is a true band with such a star up front. That's how I feel about Debbie Harry. Yeah. Same sort of David Lee Roth kind of, you just can't have it any other way.
Yeah, she had that streetwise thing where you're just like, man, this lady, man, she knows what's going on. She knows the streets. She knows, they were early on, like, Rapture or whatever. She's like rapping. It was the first song to ever hit the charts with a rap in it. They were just doing cool stuff. They they were doing punk, then disco, Heart of Glass, which started out a reggae song. Too cool to chase fame, too sharp to miss it. That's how I would kind of sum her up. She was just I don't know, just a cut above every, it's just, you saw her and you was just like, she's the queen, she was just.
Yeah, I think natural is the key word there, right? That I always felt like it's just what came 100% naturally without much thought put into it.
Yeah, it was kind of like undeniable, she just had it. She knew how to do it. Like, it was just there. She was in her,
Hey, Deborah Harry, my number 5. Back to Glenn for your number 4.
Number 4, Paramore.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Okay.
This is the album I'm really feeling lately, and it's their latest album. I've been on board with this band, I don't want to say since day one. The first album did not move me. And it wasn't really until the second album where things started really taking off for me, showing an interest in getting super into this band. Hayley Williams, the singer. I'm going to go ahead and say Paramore is one of the greatest rock bands of the past 2 decades. I'm going to say it. They're just a great band. Yeah. And she is an amazing front woman. And I think what really solidified my feelings for this band was I was working in Hollywood, and I decided to pause work when I found out that they were playing at Hollywood and Highland outdoors in the middle of that mall structure. But I just put my pencil down, my faders down, and I walked up there, and it's one of the greatest live performances I've ever seen. Honestly, I did not know what I was getting into with their live performance.
Oh, we got to go see them next time they're here. I don't think I've ever seen them live.
I have.
So the band has evolved over the years. There's been member changes, original members leaving, coming back. Whatever the case, they've always had top-notch players in that band. Always an amazing drummer, always, no matter who it is. Bass players doing freaking cartwheels while playing. It was, and the energy from the fans, the connection with the fans, and just great tunes.
Yeah.
Just great tunes, great hooks.
She's
and
like
it's
a
rock.
Yeah, she's like a true, and I say this in the best way possible. She's like a true rock star. Like she is the real deal, man. She is awesome. The way I found out about them was I was playing, I think I was playing Guitar Hero, the video game.
Oh,
and one of
really?
the tunes
They're
is
on
on
there?
Guitar Hero, and I was like, "What is this? This is freaking awesome!" And they're fantastic. I think on that record, especially the song "When It Rains" is one of the best songs of the past 10. Whenever from that album till now, it is such a great song. The production, the way she sings it, it's amazing. That's a great one. Great pick. They're an amazing band.
Paramore, Glen's number 4. And that's a tough act to follow, Dave.
Okay, my number 4, same kind of thing with Blondie. Huge band in the 70s, 80s. Huge respect. 2 great singers. This is Heart. Ann and Nancy Wilson. When you really sit down and think about it, they had so many hit songs. So many in the late 70s. And they transitioned really well into the 80s. And I think it was just because the 2 of them had a clear vision. They knew what they wanted to do. They didn't take any from anybody, and I have such huge respect for them. But especially Nancy. I think she is such an underrated guitar player, songwriter, singer. She writes scores for films.
There's like 25 instruments.
She's amazing. So when I think about a top 5 female fronted band, I kind of have to have Heart in there because think of the songs they had, Crazy on You, Magic Man, Barracuda, Straight On, which I think is one of their underrated hit for them.
I love that song.
Yeah, it's a fantastic song. What about Love, Never, Alone, Nothing at All, and These Dreams. They're just great. Just great. So that's my number 4.
These Dreams.
These Dreams is also kind of an underrated.
Remember Never?
Yeah, Never.
Never was great.
Yeah.
God, that is a powerful tune.
Yeah.
The big kicks in the video.
Yeah.
I might have watched that
Why
video.
it's so powerful?
That's so powerful.
They were big kicks.
Giant
They were
kicks.
big kicks.
Big
Great
kicks.
chorus.
That was the
I'll give the
80s.
chorus some credit too.
It was the 80s.
There were some big kicks,
I like
some
that
big hair.
period of Heart. For me, that's my
the-
favorite.
yeah, no,
Heart.
the-
I actually
yeah.
don't love Barracuda, and
Well,
Really?
it's
I'm not a big fan of the early Heart. I just not.
Wow. Wet blanket. Glenn put on the pants, the vindictive pants. They kind of went to fisticuffs with Capitol Records over that because they were getting some outside writers and stuff like that. Now they delivered those songs. If you've ever heard some of those songs that were written by other people for that album, the demos. You almost can't believe that they did the songs because the demos suck so bad.
Well, I think that speaks
they're
to
really.
I think that speaks to how smart they are. They knew how
exactly.
to
They're
do
like,
it.
we can turn that into something good. Don't let Glenn rain on your heart.
Well, believe me, I know Glenn's attitude towards 70s Heart. It's fine. I was prepared for that.
No Dreamboat Annie for Glenn.
Dave, you were at Soundcheck Live with me when Nancy Wilson played with Nuno, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why
That was interesting.
I love Nancy Wilson. She is. I think she's so awesome. She's done so many great things. Underrated singer too. I know her sister gets, rightfully so, a lot of the attention, but she's fantastic too. She's great.
All right, number 4, Dave, Heart with the legendary Heart, and that brings it over to me for my number 4. And I'm going to go to the London suburbs, Bromley and Kent. I would argue my number 4 single-handedly created theatrical gothic post-punk glam. Susie Sue of Susie and the Banshees. Just an unmistakable voice, deep, dark, icy, commanding, and ritualistic. I remember the first time I heard this band, a friend played it for me in high school, and I was like, what is this? Like, I was listening to, whatever was on the radio at the time. It certainly wasn't Susie and the Banshees. And so they played it for me, and I was like, I didn't understand it at all. It was like, this is, this tribal sort of, it's like, Budgie on drums and doing all the, kind of tribal stuff. And then they had like songs with orchestration, but it was just, it had a completely different sound than anything I had ever heard before in the little town in Michigan I grew up in. And so when I heard this, like this whole world sort of opened up, and she's obviously the proto-goth punk, priestess in war paint, she basically created the rock and roll uniform. I mean, once Susie Sue was out there, and she started out with like in the punk scene, but then definitely expanded, and they started doing everything, all different kinds of music, all the way to pop, with like Kiss Them For Me and stuff that was just like basically pop songs, like she was like, black is the rock and roll uniform, everyone's gonna wear it, it doesn't matter what kind of genre you're in, you could be this genre, that genre, you have to wear black. Which we're all wearing today, ironically.
I love the way you said, I think you said commanding. I remember the first time I kind of saw her and them, it was almost shocking. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah. Well, I remember the first time I heard or paid attention really to Peekaboo, and I just went nuts. I was in that. This is back when I actually, went out and could do some dancing and whatever.
Right.
I was so freaking into that tune.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And by the way, for those that don't know, this Tinderbox, all the songs were about disasters. They were all, just bad things. But it was anyway. Cities and Dust is on this, which is obviously a popular song, but it still stands up. But then, if anyone hasn't heard, if you guys haven't heard this, or anybody else out there hasn't, the Through the Looking Glass record, which this is going to pop up, I'm sure, on another list later, but it's a covers album, and it's so well done. It sounds so good. You listen to it. I went back and listened to that record not long ago, and it sounds so good. It was really, really well recorded and mixed and mastered. I think it was probably, I don't know, late 80s, maybe mid 80s. But it's called Through the Looking Glass, and that has some great covers. Better, which is
What's the other project or band that she did? Is Creatures?
Creatures? Yeah. She did the Creatures.
Just Creatures.
Yeah. Well, there's another one. Yeah.
I can't remember.
I think it was The Creatures.
The Creatures.
Yeah.
Susie, my number 4, and over to you, Glenn, for your number 3. Top, and for those just joining us, this is top 5 female-fronted bands.
Who's just joining us? Did your wife just walk in the room?
Sometimes you just scroll right to the half point mark of a video, and you're like, I don't know what these bozos are talking about.
Okay,
who are these people?
Skipping ahead. For those of you skipping ahead and missing half the show. Yeah. All right. So my number 3 is Portishead.
Wow, he really played that off, didn't he, Dave? We were talking about it, and Glenn's like, I'm not going to say a word.
I kind of knew when I said it, and he didn't say anything.
Yeah. I made a look.
He made a look.
I know, we would have spent way too long talking about it. There isn't really anything new to say to that other than, as a drummer, it literally changed how I was playing drums. It did, and it's kind of crazy because, there's like a lot of samples and whatnot on that album. A lot of ghost notes and adding rolls and those sort of what became like classic trip hop beats.
Lo-fi.
It just really influenced my playing. I started working it into everything. I got a piccolo snare to try and capture a lot of that sound.
Was that the reason you got the piccolo?
I don't know if it was the reason, but it definitely made the piccolo front and center because I ended up using it as my main snare. Portishead had a lot to do with how I played drums in the 90s. It really did.
Yeah.
So
I feel like we
that's really interesting.
like we would jam and we would just create. I think one song we created was basically just a Portishead song.
Well, that's what we all agree on. We that was Beth was on all our lists, so
Yeah.
I guess we all know what we think about that. So
transitioning to my number 3, it could easily be on your list too. I think they're the most the best at this sort of thing, and this is Curve. It's just I think they're the best of their genre. Honestly, I do. Like Tony Holiday is able to put beauty onto just chaos, and it's such a dichotomy of things. The melodies she created over these songs were great. There's one melody she does in the song Doppelganger that's maybe one of the best melodies I've ever heard, and it only happens once. It's amazing.
It only happens once.
It only happens once.
It's like it's the heavens just sing at that moment. It's just so incredible.
It's kind of the same thing as Portishead. I never really heard anything like it, and when I was introduced to them, I immediately was just like drawn to it because the big wall of guitars, the drums, the drum style, the kind of loopy thing, and then we saw them. I think we talked about this, Glenn. We saw them at the Troubadour, and I was blown away by them. Dean Garcia is fantastic. He's awesome. So yeah, I'm not going to belabor it too much because this might show up later. But yeah, Curve is my number 3.
I actually disqualified them from my list because I consider them a duo.
Yeah, you could say that maybe, but I didn't. This was the one
list. So this worked out.
This was the one when you said no duos. I was like, oh god.
Yeah,
but
Dean and Tony.
Controversy.
I think if you have a name, like I think that's okay.
But there's a lot of duos that are band names.
I guess so. But
yeah, Eurythmics.
Eurythmic. Yeah, I didn't disqualify them.
Goldfrapp. That's another one. Okay. I disqualified Goldfrapp from my list because I consider them a duo.
Oh, yeah, you're considering them a duo?
They are.
See, they're on my Glen list.
They are
another
a duo.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, my Glen list is blown. Yeah, they're considered a duo.
Well, I'm glad then because I would hate to have taken another one from you.
But
there's no rules.
There's no rules.
That's just how I was able to get through it.
Right. That's good. That's good.
And I was just going to say, Doppelganger, that record, I fell in love with that record so much at the time when it came out. I kept trying to play it in the clubs because I was a club DJ at the time. I kept playing like Fait Accompli and a couple other tracks on the record, and I just, they're not a dance band, what I mean? And, so I'm playing all these like Detroit. I was in Detroit at the time and playing like, there's a lot of Detroit techno and stuff like that. I'm trying to mix in, but, on like alternative night or whatever, I kept trying to slip in Curve, and eventually I got them. Eventually people would come out and dance to that track.
There's one thing, I'm just going to grab it because it has to be mentioned in a Curve discussion. This might be my favorite album, and it's a compilation of songs because it's live, and they're live from BBC sessions.
Yes. Yeah.
It's radio sessions.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is just a must have. Because this is Curve reproducing everything in a live environment. This is on my top of my wish list in terms of getting it on vinyl. It's a tough one to find on vinyl.
Well, that said, my number 3, which now is controversial, from Aberdeen, Scotland. She was originally in a band called The Tourists, but defected with bandmate Dave Stewart to form the soul-infused new wave pop group Eurythmics, which I'm being told has not quite cut the mustard for some people here.
Hey, it's how I make my lists. It works for me, might not work for you.
And you know what's funny is I made sure there were no solo artists, but I never really thought about the duo thing, which is interesting because, here's one of the covers. There's two of them, right? I guess maybe technically, they. But,
can't you just be a 2-person band? What's wrong with that?
It's called a duo, 2-person band.
Female fronted, now you're offending duos out there by not calling them a band.
I have a feeling if you were to pull Eurythmics up in Wikipedia, I think it might say duo.
But when they go out on tour, which is what this is we're talking about top 5 female fronted bands. When they go out and they perform, they're a front person for a band. She's not a front person for Dave Stewart. She has to be on my list as far as female fronted bands because of the impact that she made. And then there's just so much about her that's incredible to me. First of all, when she first started out, it was early MTV. And when she came on the screen, I don't remember if you guys remember the first time you saw her with her bright orange, shaved, head or whatever. And she's wearing the suit, and you're just like, it was like, we were very young at the time. You don't know.
I forgot about the suit.
Yeah. And she just she would she'd be looking over this way and then she'd just be like, all of a sudden she'd look right at the camera, and with that stern look and you were just like, she was, disarming, and it was just so powerful. Her voice was so strong. She had such a strong, confident voice, but then she could just turn it on a dime and have this beautiful, beautiful, soulful, smooth, velvety voice.
I didn't realize how great of a singer she was until she kind of did the solo thing with Dave Stewart, and it was that new wave sort of thing, and I didn't quite get it at first, because I was still pretty young when they kind of first started, and I think it was Sweet Dreams was probably the first thing I saw of theirs. And I was like, I don't know what's happening right now, and what is this? This is strange to me. And then, but I kind of liked it, and then I kind of understood it as I got older. And then when she did the solo stuff, I was like, oh my God, she's an amazing singer, beautiful,
that's what
beautiful, which you didn't really see in the early stuff with Dave.
First couple records, she really didn't do that. Then she started playing around with her looks and her voice and just switching it up and confusing everybody and going, she would not, she refused to stay in that image and just be that one thing. Because, when she came out, I describe her as 1 cup Grace Jones, 2 cups David Bowie. But then she added 3 cups of Aretha Franklin eventually. She just has this beautiful, soulful voice. She was like this gender fluid futurist. And I just think she's a huge influence on, Lady Gaga, Miley Cyrus, Florence Welch, Pink. She influenced all those people a huge deal. And that is my number 3,
That's
Annie
very
Lennox.
good.
Duo or not. She's
on the list. Deal with it.
Glenn's not even mad.
He's not even mad.
Not even mad at my...
Well, Glen, we're on number 2 now.
Number 2. All right. I got a bit of a show and tell going on with this one. For whatever reason, I just feel like I want to share.
Share
I feel like I don't get enough opportunity to have a discussion about this band.
Okay.
So my number 2 is Cranes.
Wow, nice, Glenn. Yeah. Nice pull. Another one I forgot that you.
Yeah.
I know you love them, and they're great.
So Cranes, formed in 1985, Portsmouth, England. Alison Shaw with her brother Jim Shaw. This is an ethereal gothic shoegaze dream pop band with industrial undertones.
That's that's my soup
right there.
That's my soup. It's everything.
It's everything you want
in the recipe.
I can live there for extended periods of time. It's comfort for me. Cranes are comfort for me. I'm just very much drawn to beautiful darkness and the haunting vocals. Alison Shaw's haunting, childlike vocals. One of a kind. Never heard anything like it. Instantly recognizable. You don't find yourself in a conversation about Cranes very often, so I'm very excited about this. So just real quickly.
Oh, show and tell. Let's go.
So
everybody some Cranes vinyl.
This is, I believe, the newest release. However, it is their earliest recordings. This is called Fuse, and it's a new reissue. Self, non-self. This is a reissue. It's got a nice freaking. They did a real. For whatever reason, all of their albums are being reissued and done really nicely. Wings of Joy.
Yep, remember that one? That was early '90s, I think.
And then Forever. Now this, I want to say, has been my favorite Cranes album for the longest stretch. But more recently, Loved has become my favorite Cranes album.
Yeah.
And this one has Lilies. If you haven't heard Lilies, you just want to go straight in and figure out what Cranes is all about.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the most broad representation of them, but it's definitely one of their best tunes. And it's kind of has the most rockin' kind of element that you'll find from them. But all the other elements are in there as well. And this is an interesting album. This is a reissue of an album that came out in 1996. It is inspired by a French play. I saw them on this tour at Luna Park in West Hollywood.
Wow.
Magical. And then we've got all the EPs. They had a bunch of EPs. John Peel Sessions. Cool. Like radio.
Was a fan.
Sessions.
I remember that.
Now we're into CDs. now we're getting up there. Let's see.
We hit the no vinyl phase.
2002. You got Live in Italy. You got Particles and Waves.
Wow.
You got the self-titled 2008. So that's the last studio album, 2008, that they did.
So other than sort of describing the all the different genres that they kind of mash up together, which you did a great job, I think, of describing exactly the what makes the soup or the sausage, whatever you want to call it. Tell everybody like what it is about them that really makes you go out and buy every single CD or vinyl. Like, what is it about them?
It's just a place I like to visit. I don't know. It's just so comforting. There's like this chilling undercurrent that is exciting to me. It's the haunting element. It's probably why I love horror movies so much. It's a beautiful darkness, and I just can't get enough of it.
It's important when you really love a band, if there's something inside of us all where we're like, I just want some other people to discover this band and check them out and have the same experience and enjoy it.
Even in what we've done, I've already gone and like checked stuff out that I haven't necessarily, heard, been that familiar with before,
All right. Deep cut that cuts deep. It's Allison Shaw of Cranes, Glen's number 2.
Nice.
Thank you, Glen. Dave, your number 2.
My number 2, back to kind of like the early 90s, when there seemed to be a lot of these bands coming out with kind of the rock, more the rock band with the female singer. There were a lot of them, but my favorite was Letters to Cleo. It's a band out of Boston. Formed in 1990, the first record, Aurora Borealis. A little raw. Mike Deneen, who's like a big producer in Boston, worked on it. And it had this great Kay Hanley is the singer. It had this great combination of just a straight ahead kind of rock indie thing with, this just like really beautiful singing over it. Great songs. And then they had Aurora Borealis was 93, 94. They put out Wholesale Meats and Fish, which I think is a hugely underrated record. It got a little heavier. I think they upped their game production wise. They had a great drum. Yeah, there it is. There's Aurora Borealis.
Oh, dude, is that the reissue? Is that it?
Look at this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
God damn it. I had that in my hand, and Wholesale Meats and Fish, Amoeba, when those came out. And
you put them down?
It was a painful putback. I did say I had spilt milk it's shortly after that, too, and that became like super expensive. They recently reissued that. But anyway, dude, those go for a lot now. Yeah, those reissues.
Yeah, I think the last time I checked it, it was up there. But I love that record.
Yeah,
both those records. Those records.
Those two,
and the Boston thing, being in Boston, they were on the radio.
Yeah, they were like a homegrown thing, and like especially those two records, like right back to back. And I remember when Wholesome Meats and Fish, when I got that record, I was like, wow, they are so good at combining that heaviness and then her singing. I've always loved her voice.
Yeah,
and she's gone on to do a bunch of other stuff too. Oh, Stacey Jones was the drummer. I was like, I didn't write it down, but I did.
Incredible drummer.
Again, we saw him with the Troubadour. He is so good.
Yeah.
So and like Glenn, more of a true band.
Oh yeah, that was a more recent show. But before that, we saw them on the Wholesale Meats and Fish tour as well.
That's right.
Yeah, I forget what I was in Hollywood.
I feel like I maybe saw them. Did I see them in Boston? No,
In Boston at the Paradise,
yes,
I think,
was
too.
it? Was it? I think we did see them at the
Yeah.
Paradise. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So I just loved how she sounded with their guitars too. Like they interesting guitar players. They weren't like super flashy or anything, but they had a cool vibe. And yeah, I would recommend that band to anyone that kind of hasn't heard them before. It's just great.
I think Here and Now was the single, wasn't it? The big
Here and
the big
Now,
single?
I
Now,
see.
so they were originally on Cherry Disc in Boston, and then they got the major label deal,
Yeah.
and they reissued
Yeah.
Aurora
Borealis.
Borealis, and did a new version of Here and Now,
Which is not as good.
I gotta say is nowhere near
it's
as
not as
good
good.
as the Cherry Disc version.
Yeah.
Very disappointing. Actually,
But the second version was the one that made it on the radio.
the second one's the one that made it
Yeah.
nationally. On
Yeah,
the
it was
radio.
more. Yeah, it was
Oh,
more the
wow.
thing. But but the original was much better. And then
IC was the big single in Boston off the Cherry Disc version.
Yeah, IC is a great one. And then off Wholesale Meets a Fish, Fast Way especially, and Jennifer.
Fast Way,
Jennifer. The outro of Jennifer is great. Just again back to like the interesting guitar like lines those guys would do, and Stacey Jones on drums. So yeah. Number 2, I went back to Boston again for Letters to Cleo. There you go.
I mean, a lot going on in Boston.
Yeah. It's a good music scene. It's a good music scene.
Quality music scene.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
All right.
Letters to Cleo. So my number 2, born in Akron, Ohio, raw melodic punk blues with a defiant slouch, I would say, smoky, unpolished, coolly conversational, yet emotionally piercing. The sound of heartbreak with a backbone. This is Chrissy Hynde. And I have to correct one of our other episodes when we got into the conversation
Band
about
names.
Remember the issue with
Yeah.
Pretenders, and I was like, oh yeah, the Pretenders must be. Well, it was actually backwards. They did the right thing. So apologies to them.
They dropped the.
No,
they added
they started out Pretenders. Okay, there's 1, there's 2, and then they went, you know what? The is important.
Yeah.
And so
But by that time, they'd already had 2 incredibly classic albums.
Right.
It's like it's already there. It is. It's just Pretenders.
No,
we're gonna add
adding the is good.
Add the.
Yeah, there's another the.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a visual. It's just a visual. When I think of them, I see that.
You see
album
Pretender.
cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the tune that we did, Dave, from the second album?
Day after day.
Day After Day.
Was it Day After Day? Is that what it's called? I think I kept saying like day by day, but it's day after day, I think.
I just think she's just so cool. And think of the time, respect to all the women who were coming up and being front women at that time, dealing with all the nonsense in the business, the misogyny and just the male, can you imagine in late 70s, early 80s record labels, how gross they probably were. But she's lived a hard life, an interesting life. She, partied like, Motley Crue. She lived with the Sex Pistols, she worked at NME. She's had a very interesting life. Ended up married to Jim Kerr from Simple Minds. She is the one who convinced him to record Don't You Forget About Me. After it had been offered to tons of other artists.
They passed on it once, yeah. Tough as nails, like no frills, but then all singing stuff like Back on the Chain Gang and everything. But then they sing stuff like Brass in Pocket, which is like a beautiful song. And there's a great live version of them doing it just like in a rehearsal room on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
They're one band that I started really critically listening. And listening to all the parts of the different instruments and listening to what she was doing with her vocals, there's way more there than meets the ear if you just been casually listening to those records and those songs over the years.
Yeah.
Because they were never like a favorite band of mine in the 80s. And then I went back and just could not get enough of listening to those records. I just go back and listen, like, oh my God, there's way more here than I thought. That's my number 2, Chrissy Hine. Great book, by the way, if anybody likes to read rock books. Very interesting. Very interesting. Nice. So, and now we're back to Glenn for number 1.
Glenn, number 1.
My number 1 is Missing Persons. We've talked about Missing Persons. This is a Japanese promo copy.
I just love that cover too. It's so cool.
I mean,
so cool.
It's just so
just
awesome.
The big blue slash across. Yeah.
I actually didn't have Missing Persons because they were on one of your other lists, and that's why I didn't have Till Tuesday either.
I couldn't exclude them from this list because they were on another list. But I did think about, like, I got to talk about Missing Persons again. People are going to get sick of me talking about Missing Persons. And this was a hands down for me. There's no deliberation about this. The list started with Missing Persons at number 1, and everything else, filled in. I heard Words on the radio, and that Spring Session M is the first album of that nature with a female-fronted new wave that I went out and got myself. Dale Bozio is the singer. There's various Frank Zappa affiliations with the band. Terry Bozio, the drummer. At the time when I first started listening to this album, I had no idea where I would go with the influence of Terry Bozio. The songs resonated with me, the synthesizers and the style of Warren Cucurello's guitar and Bozio's playing, and obviously Dale's just quirky, unique. She did not comply with any format, it's like she just dove into being a front person and did it well. All right, I'm do this, but I'm going to be me, and what you get is what you get. And it turns out her just natural state of being as a front woman was this incredible kind of avant-garde yet melodic and full of hooks. And then obviously the aesthetic.
She's a replicant. Think of when they landed. Somehow a spaceship dropped her off and just said, "Good luck. Here's your outfit."
Right. Yeah. And I recently, if you haven't seen it, I don't know if you watch any of Billy Corgan's
videos. I started watching that.
He's got some great guests.
Yeah. He's doing a good job with that.
He's doing a really good job.
Yeah.
Really good job. And he had Dale on, and it's a fun interview. The US Festival.
Yeah.
If anyone, if there's anyone out there that has not paid any attention to Missing Persons, I would say start with
that.
With finding a decent, there's a few versions on YouTube. Find a good quality one of their performance at the US Festival. It's one of my favorite things to watch. It's like every year in the summer I watch Jaws, and there's certain things I do on a schedule, and watching Missing Persons at the US Festival is on my
every Friday list.
Just and this is about Dale, but Terry Bozio's quite possibly one of the greatest moments ever captured of his playing is in U.S. Drag at the US Festival. It's insane. She's an incredible front person, but she's also an incredible band member. Being in a band with guys that played in Zappa's band, it's you have to hold your own, and she does really held her own
and went above and beyond too. I mean, adding all those little squeaks and things, all those little high notes, that was very unique. Just those little personality things she added to it that were purely her, that were very clever. That you can't buy that.
Yeah, so there you go. Missing Persons, number 1.
Very nice.
Bozio.
That's awesome.
Excellent, Glenn. Dave, your number 1.
Oh my God, my number 1. I don't think I cheated too much on this one, but didn't start out a female-fronted band, became a female-fronted band.
Wait.
And
do you know this, Glenn?
Well, you will in a second.
You know where he's going?
You will in a second.
I know, but we want to guess.
And there's 3 singers, but I think they're female fronted because the women outnumber the men.
What is this? The polyphonic spree or something? Oh,
Polyphonic spree. Yes. Okay, I see.
So
Okay.
yes, not only one, like Hart, not only one but two great front women, Stevie Nicks and Christine McVie.
Yeah.
They were kind of a jam blues band before, Christine McVie joined before Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham. But once they joined, everything just took off. Their first record with them, 1975, with Rhiannon, Say You Love Me, Landslide, and then, of course, Rumors. They just had it all. Like, they had the musicianship among the whole band was fantastic. Lindsey Buckingham is one of my all-time favorite guitar players. Christine McVie, I think, is highly underrated. I think she's a great singer. I think she's a great songwriter. I think she knew how to write songs for that band. And, Stevie Nicks, I mean, for all their controversy and arguing and everything, I think she's a great front woman, great voice. The team of her and Lindsey Buckingham, I think, is one of the most prolific and, greatest songwriting teams of all time. I think John McVie is a great bass player, and him and Mick Fleetwood were a great rhythm section. I just think the band had everything. They had it all. I've just always loved them. I mean, I think it was kind of like a perfect storm for them in the late 70s, and then into the 80s too. But then they were all doing all kinds of drugs and everything, so it kind of fell apart.
Is there a band that has more freaking
issues?
No, dysfunctional relationship problems.
I don't think so.
I mean,
I don't think so.
Yeah, the fact that they made it through all that. I don't know how they functioned through and made those brilliant records.
I think they held on just long enough to make some great records.
Dave, number one, that's a 2-for-1.
A twofer.
Which I'm a twofer, which I'm going to follow with a twofer.
Nice.
2-for-1 bonus double lead at number one. And this is Annie Fried, Suni Lingstad, and Agneta Feldskog of ABBA.
Yes.
This is my number one for a reason. For one reason, the sound. Their voices give me the chills today, the same way they did when I was a little kid when I first heard their voices together. And it's just literally like no other sound in the world when they sing together. It's just otherworldly. It's like they just sent to Earth to give us a preview of what whatever's after sounds like. Here's when you put those two sounds together. And have you ever heard any voices, or one voice or two voices or multiple voices together ever that sound like those two together?
Probably not.
No.
With these two, there's so many things about their voices. They sound genetically impossible. It just sounds like genetically impossible. The sound of their voice, it's like precision meets like emotion. It's like the emotions are still there after all those takes. You believe their vocals, the emotion that is in their vocals. And I would just end by saying that the thing that I love about them most, and their vocals, is that it's sadness inside of sunshine. And that is the recipe. I don't know why I like this sadness inside sunshine. I don't like usually I don't like full sadness and just sadness. I have to have some sort of glimmer of hope in there. Yeah. And that's what they give me. Yeah. Even when they sing sad songs, their marriages are breaking up and they're singing these really sad songs that are devastating. But there's something in there that's also like victorious.
There's great beauty in sadness.
Some reel came up on Instagram or something of them in the studio working on Dancing Queen, and but now they weren't even singing, they were just talking about how they were gonna do it, and I was struck by how focused they were, how professional they were, and they were all there on a mission, we're gonna get this right. And it seems very Swedish to me. We're gonna do this, pay attention to this. But right. I was struck by that. I was like, wow, they're so focused on making this amazing,
And I heard as soon as they started doing that song and they had laid down, mm-hmm. they got some keepers. Yeah, they both were like, whoa. Yeah, both of them knew. Yeah, a lot of the artists get asked that a lot when they have a big hit. Yeah. did you know it was a hit? And it seems like most of the time, most people go, no, you never know. Or every once in a while, someone goes, oh yeah, it felt like magic, like whatever. But they were like, we just looked at each other and we're like, whoa, this is going to be crazy special.
It's also just like a different sensibility than American or it's like British. It's Scandinavian. It's they just have a slightly different feel to it.
Something in the water in Sweden. The records that come out of Sweden.
Yeah. From Yngwie to ABBA.
Yeah.
I mean, look at some of the Swedes, Max Martin, what's he have? 600 number one hits or something?
Yeah.
I mean,
I experienced ABBA in the best way much later in my 20s. That's actually the same club I was talking about earlier that was playing Susie and the Banshees and Sweet. And I remember they played Take a Chance and SOS. And just, in a club environment, cranked. I had a brand new experience with ABBA.
I love SOS. I love SOS.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But I think it's the same thing. Like when I was younger too, I thought of them and sort of like the Bee Gees as like, oh, like that's just disco. But then I came to appreciate it later, they were making some really smart, really great records, man.
I didn't own ABBA Gold till I was in my 20s.
I agree. Bee Gees was the same way. They got kind of written off as disco, and ABBA was the same. They were so huge. Both bands were so big. Of course, they're going to get the backlash. And I remember all the hate that both those bands
but the really sophisticated
I liked them at the time, but really, really, all those musicians in both those bands, Bee Gees and ABBA, those are great records to go back and revisit because I think they got looked over.
Yeah, 100%.
I went back and started getting all the Bee Gees albums.
Because
back in the day, I just had Saturday Night Fever, and I loved that, loved it.
Yeah.
But I didn't start buying their albums again until I was much, much older.
Yeah.
So I think I wrapped it up there with
two twofers
with our Swedes, and that was fun, guys. Thanks for bringing it yet again today in this episode. Top 5 female fronted artists. Please leave your top 5 or 1 or 2 or however many you want. We'd love to see what your favorites are. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next time on the 5x3. Hi, everybody. It's just me. Everyone went to change their clothes. Oh, there you are. It's the same shirt. You change your shirt?
I'm basically Charlie Brown. I have like 20 of these shirts.